In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to apply a texture to a photo. So first of all, I've got here a texture and I've got my photo, got them both open in Photoshop. The texture, this is just an old non-stick baking sheet that's been used quite a few times that I photographed. You can either photograph your own textures using sort of old paper or peeling paint on a wall or anything really. Or if you do a search for textures on the internet, you can find hundreds of websites giving them away. So I've got them both open in Photoshop. What I'm going to do is go to Window, Images, Tile, and that puts the photo and the texture next to each other so we can see them both. I'm selected on the texture image here. I'm going to click on the background, click and drag, and then drop it onto the photo here. And you can see it's copied it into the photo. So now we're going to close the texture image, so we don't need that anymore. The texture is a different, it's in portrait orientation while the photo is in landscape. So we need to change that. I'm going to press Ctrl and T for transform, and we can either change the angle here, we can put -90 degrees to rotate it, or you can click and rotate, click and drag to rotate the image like that. So now we've got the texture layer rotated to match the orientation of our photo. We need to resize it so that it will fit over the photo correctly. The texture here is a little bit smaller. You can either enlarge it, you can see up here I've got constrained proportions checked, and that means when we drag the corner it will enlarge the image so that it doesn't get stretched. Sort of one side won't get stretched more than the other side. If we hold down the Alt key on the keyboard and click on this corner and drag it out, or you can click on any corner. Right, now the texture layer is resized. We can either click on this green tick down here or press enter. Now over here in the layer palette we've got the different blend modes, so you can change that. Overlay is one that normally works well for textures. Soft light can also work quite well, and multiply is another one that quite often works well. You can play around with all the different blending modes to see which one suits your image best. For this one I'm going to go with overlay. You can change the opacity of the texture layer to reduce the effect. For this image I like it at 100%. And you can do other things, like you can use a layer mask on the layer to selectively apply the texture to only one part of the image, and that sort of thing, which can be quite useful with people photos, because quite often you might want to just put the texture on the background while leave the texture off the person. But with this landscape image I quite like the texture applied to the whole image. So that's it really. I can just save this image out, and that's finished.